to provide the needed leveling of understanding among local governments. And the interest of local governments in tourism is growing, Freddie. Many of the LGUs that before were not that interested in tourism because they thought this is only an imperialist type of industry and only the rich people would go into tourism, realize that every tourist that comes in eats food and it has an impact on agriculture. Every tourist comes, are entertained by their own locals, and they are providing jobs. Even entertainers, guitarists are developed in their talents, and they are also pushed into preserving their cultures because these are part of what you offer in tourism. You don't have to reinvent a Filipino culture to be attractive. You have to showcase what is naturally ours. So all these are put together: environmental protection, heritage preservation, complementary to the whole area of tourism promotion.
If this is something that will be signed and put in place, do you think this is something that should be followed by the next administration? And if you talk about incentives, what incentives would really attract investors to invest more of their resources?
It will be followed by the next administration because this is a law. And it will provide the direction beyond the present administration. And this is the focus that the bill really intends to address. As I was also experiencing before, having been invited to various colleges and universities offering courses in tourism, professors were telling us that it was so difficult to discuss policy issues of tourism because issuances were changing every time there is a new leadership in the department or in the country. And I think this direction setting of the act and the corresponding support of incentives and marketing strategies will hopefully provide an easier way for private sector to really come in. And you will notice also that in this particular bill, once it becomes a law, there is a mechanism of participation by the private sector and the local governments that are systematically provided, so that even in the appointment, in the representation of private sector groups in the bodies like the tourism board or in the incentives giving board, there are mechanisms of how they would be able to participate. So the concept that tourism is a private sector-led industry with government providing the needed support mechanism is put in place in the Tourism Act.
Would you say that the success of the tourism industry is partly because government has given focus now and the private sector is more involved in the development process?
Yes, the present administration is really looking at tourism as a major sector, major industry, determined, appreciative of the fact that it can have multiplier effects in the economy and all the benefits. So even when we do our budgets for the GAA, you will notice that Department of Tourism only has this budget, but other departments has budgets for tourism, highways, and the Department of Tourism. DNR has its own budget related to tourism. So all the other departments.
It now in one, the budgeting or the appropriations should only be in one basket.
Not necessarily. It will still depend in Congress. But what we're saying here is the Tourism Act provides the needed mechanism where the players of the industry can involve themselves in, and has a focus as well as has the guidelines on how they can proceed with participating in the industry that is considered an engine for growth and development. So local governments as well is clearly given a major recognition in the Tourism Act. As I said, many local governments have succeeded in showcasing their own tourism development, and DOT recognizes that. In Bohol alone, let me cite two examples. Lobok, for instance, is a community that has developed their own tourism packages with the assistance of the DOT in terms of technical support, but the basic elements of investments in infrastructure and in people, in the training of their people.
Is planned by them.
Is planned by them.
And executed by them.
Executed by them. And the Lobok Children's Choir, the Lobok Band, all these are coming out into the picture with very strong impact on visiting groups. These are just natural resource of Lobok, and I think this is a major showcase that can be replicated nationwide in terms of how they succeeded. The other emerging one is Danao, also in Bohol, in the hinterlands of Bohol. It's a very faraway town, but now it's an emerging destination. It showcases adventure tourism and extreme adventure tourism. That's why they call it Eat Danao. And it's purely a local government initiative and supported by people's organization and community groups. There's not much presence of private sector investors yet, but I am very sure very soon private sector investors will be getting into Danao's showcasing what they have.
What you see now in this government is the nautical highway. What's the impact of the nautical highway of the president to tourism?
It has a very, very encouraging impact. In fact, now there are trips direct from Pasay, from Manila, down south to Bicol, straight to Samar and Leyte, ends up in Ubay, in Bohol, and goes straight to Tagbilaran City. So before, this accessibility is not open. And the other routes going to other places and destinations all over the country through the nautical highways has been very, very encouraging. And this allows more movement, not only of people, but even goods and services as well. And I think the President was really correct in emphasizing that in her program. And we are gaining and benefiting from it as of the present.
One casualty of tourism could be the environment, whether you like it or not. And it's so important to think of the environment, because if you don't protect the environment, your destination might just lose its luster in the future. How important is this in the Tourism Act?
It's there. It's emphasized in the Tourism Act because all of us trying to hammer out the major provisions of the law emphasize on the fact that while tourism is looked up to as an industry that can provide the engine for growth, we must make sure that we emphasize sustainable tourism, a tourism that will not sacrifice the future generation. We must look into the components of ecotourism. The areas that need to be really preserved has to be preserved, while tourism will open up new investments. The rules on environmental preservation must be intact. Preservation of the environment, preservation of the heritage sites, preservation of the cultural sites must be there. So these are also defined in the law. We hope too that I was emphasizing to the DOT before the program tonight started, that after the signing of the law by the President, the DOT and the other agencies involved in the crafting of the IRR must situate the provisions that are still needing, refinement or strengthening or whatever, must find its way into the IRR.
Well, you're very bullish, Congressman, when you first started as the chairman of the Committee on Tourism, and right now you're going to end your term with the Tourism Act. Do you think this will really set into motion something that has not been done in the past and where we can build on as a people and as a nation?
I am optimistic that we can have our breakthroughs in this industry, but I am also very, very certain that this will entail a lot of work. The law is only the guide. What will make it, what will breathe life into the law will be the people interacting with each other and making sure that things turn out right for Philippine tourism. And I would say that everyone will really be working hard to make sure that what is being envisioned for the Philippines and the tourism industry as an engine for growth and development of the country can really be realized in the years to come.
Thank you.
This is not a quick fix. That law is not
It's
a quick
not.
fix.
That's why I was
There's still
emphasizing
a lot
on
of
the
work to
work.
be done. We have to work at the IRR, the details, who are those to be involved in adopting the IRR. There's so much to be done pa, but this is a good start, very good start.
Okay, thank you very much, Congressman Edgar Chatto, Chairman of the Committee on Tourism in the House. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Director Alan Canisal, Tourism Planning Promotion of the Department of Tourism. Mr. Chris Frianeza, Secretary General of the PCCI, and Ms. Maria Pasalberto, President, Philippine Travel Agencies Association. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, everyone can participate in enhancing our tourism industry in the same manner that we can all enhance nature itself to be attractive enough for visitors to come, enjoy, and stay. And development begins with oneself by simply keeping our environment clean, our streets safe and well-maintained, our rivers flowing without silt, our garbage properly managed, and our communications and power services working. We have already contributed more than half of the need to make our country first friendly. Thank you for having joined me this evening. I'm Freddie Obando. Thank you.